Cats. We all love them, and whoever doesn't are either allergic or probably evil. While I was perusing the local Barnes and Nobles, I couldn't help but see this book stare right at my face because it had a black cat on it, and I also have a black cat. Um, and I'll call that very manipulative marketing. Today, we dive into the book of If Cats Disappeared from the World by the author Genki Kawamura. Now, as we go along, I will be using subtle imagery to keep your attention since we won't only be talking about cats the entire time, and I know that's why most of you guys probably clicked on this video. Okay, in any case, we start off with the narrator, and his name was never really introduced, and we learned that he had been diagnosed with stage 4 brain tumor. The doctor had told me I had only 6 months to live tops, but I'd be lucky if I made it another week. So there he goes, and he's like really angry at the loss of time, but he gets home and he faints. I really was sick, he thought. And then when he wakes up, however, he was introduced to someone out of the blue, and it's a guy that looks exactly like him, and it's the devil wearing this pineapple shirt, and told him, actually, you're gonna die tomorrow. Yeah, and it's kind of a bummer, the devil says. However, offered him an opportunity where he can extend his entire life for one day if you erase something in this world. But the narrator, after thinking a little while, says yes, and I don't blame him. I probably would do something similar. But can you guys guess what he got rid of? Yeah, you guessed it. It was a phone. Now some of you guys are probably thinking that's even worse than losing a cat. Which I understand, I guess. No. But as the phones of the world disappeared, the narrator remembered that he wasn't able um, to call his father. And this is someone he hadn't contacted since his mom died 4 years ago. But part of the deal actually was that you can use the item you make disappear one last time before it goes away. And so he uses it to call somebody. I won't tell you yet since the book does the same thing. In any case, he falls asleep and we're given some backstory about his previous cat Lettuce, who they found in a lettuce box, and they took care of the cat for many years until also died of a tumor. And the mother, before she had passed, asked the narrator to take care of Cabbage, who is his present cat right now. And he calls his cat his roommate, which probably should be more of like an overlord type figure. And the mother was kind of a saint because she brought in the cat even though she was allergic, like the trooper she is, and she just toughed it out until her body didn't react anymore. And then the next day we see that the narrator goes out to meet the person he calls, which is actually his ex-girlfriend. And yeah, that's a good use of time, where they talk about the relationship and what went wrong. I found it interesting that the book defines their past relationship by the little things, like what her favorite food was, her favorite animal, that weird habit you can't seem to get rid of. The narrator lost her because he wasn't able to remember the little things, which is just as important as the big moments. And even when they mourned together, it was silent, and I think that's really important to note when you meet somebody, that you want to keep that open communication forever. And it's important that you have that ability to do so. Well, in any case, they leave in good standings and they reminisce about life. And in the end of the gathering that they had, she invited him to watch a private screening at the movie theater where she works at, because he really likes movies. And on the next day, the narrator still values his life, and so the devil erases something else from existence, which was movies, and he was given the opportunity to watch it one more time. So he goes to meet his friend, and they have this nostalgic, beautiful heart to heart over their bond of movies. And in the end, he chooses Limelight by Charlie Chaplin, and it's this really old movie. And he reminisces about his mother and father and the life that they had together with their cats. And it wasn't perfect, of course, but there's something about the simplicity that was nice about. And once the movie ended, his ex told him that he can see her if he ever needed help, which made him happy. And the next day, he lets time pass him by, and the devil actually just takes away time. It's like clocks and watches. He also wakes up to a talking cat, where the devil says it's like a gift for losing so many things important to him. And in this chapter, the narrator is left estranged, unknowing to how slow or fast time has gone. He also then reflects on his relationship with his father, and his father is a clock repairer, um, which is very fitting for what is he just like took away his livelihood, I guess. So he brings a Cabbage on a walk, and he tries to jostle some of Cabbage's memory because he can talk now, but Cabbage has no idea anything about his mom and stuff like that. But it wasn't until the end where he showed him Cabbage a photo of them where he remembered, and all he remembered was that he was happy. I found this powerful because the emotions to the events are more memorable to the actual memory itself. And it just made me realize that sometimes happiness prevails. Sometimes you don't really need a clear memory, that the happiness speaks for itself. Cabbage then loses the ability to speak, and the devil gave him the final option to make cats disappear from the world. He takes some time to think about it until he falls asleep, and then when he wakes up, he's in panic because he couldn't find Cabbage. He runs all around all over town and breaks down, realizing he just lost his cat and all the cats. But then he hears a meow, and it was Cabbage, thank God. And his ex-girlfriend, it seemed that he followed his ex. The Cabbage followed his ex there, which was a good thing since he had a letter from his mom. And the letter the mom gave the ex-girlfriend was and the letter the mom told the ex-girlfriend to give him was for when he was going through hard times. And in the letter she wrote about 10 things wonderful about her son, and for him to make up with his father before he regrets it. On the last day, he decides he cannot lose Cabbage, and the devil then reveals himself as the regrets of the narrator, and that he must live this last day to the fullest. So, he cleans up the apartment and tidies up all the things one must do before a person dies. Then he thought that he must find an owner for Cabbage. Then he thought he must find an owner for Cabbage. He decides on his father, and so he writes a will and a letter to his father about a story of if cats disappeared from the world. And in the book, I feel like it's about accepting one's own mortality. It's about how things can be greater than your life, but not your cat's life. That can never be true. And I really enjoyed the simplicity of the book, and it was a really fast and entertaining read. In terms of my rating, I give it a 4 out of 5. And I guess I'll end this video off with a question. Would you guys make cats disappear for another day in your life? And is there anything that's more important to you than living? Yeah, let me know. And if you say yes to the first question, then please leave and keep reading. Yeah, thank you.